Hello, everyone. Welcome to Techity. So let's just jump right in with a question that I'm sure has crossed your mind if you've ever used an AI chatbot. Why do they sometimes get things, well, just plain wrong?
I mean, you've probably seen this, right? You ask about something that just happened, and the AI either throws its hands up and says, I don't know, or, even worse, it makes something up with total confidence. That little phenomenon has a name, by the way. It's called a hallucination. And it all comes down to the fact that the AI's knowledge is basically stuck in the past. And here's why that happens. A large language model, or LLM, only knows what it learned during its training. It can't just go out and browse the web for new info, so its knowledge is literally frozen in time, like a snapshot of the internet from whenever it was last trained. Okay, so that's the problem. How do we solve it? How do we give these amazing models access to up-to-the-minute factual information? Well, there's a really elegant solution, and it's called Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or as everyone calls it, RAG. So what is RAG? In a nutshell, it's a technique that connects an LLM to an external source of information. Think of it like a private library, and allows it to look up the facts before it gives you an answer. It's all about grounding the AI in reality. The best way to wrap your head around this is the classic exam analogy. A standard LLM is like a student in a closed book test. It can only use what is already memorized. But a RAG system, that's like an open book exam. The student can check the textbook to make sure the answer is spot on.
All right, that sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work under the hood? Let's walk through the basic mechanics of what's often called naive RAG.
It really boils down to three key steps. First, there's indexing. This is where you prepare all your information. Then there's retrieval, which is finding the right piece of info when you ask a question. And finally, generation, where the AI puts it all together to give you a smart, fact-based answer. Let's start with that first step, indexing. This is something you usually only have to do once. You take your knowledge base, could be a bunch of PDFs, your company's internal documents, whatever, and you get it ready. The system loads the data, chops it up into manageable pieces, and then, and this is the cool part, converts those pieces into numerical representations called embeddings. All this gets stored in a special kind of database called a vector database, which is super fast for searching. Okay, so once that's all set up, what happens when you actually ask a question? The system's retriever zips through that vector database to find the most relevant chunks of information. It then takes those chunks, bundles them up with your original prompt, and sends the whole package to the LLM. The result? A way more accurate and context-aware answer. So that's the basic idea. And, it works pretty well for simple things. But what's the difference between a quick proof of concept and a system you'd actually trust for important tasks? Well, that's where we move from naive RAG to advanced RAG. The big difference really comes down to the goal. Naive RAG is all about being quick and easy. But advanced RAG, it's all about accuracy and reliability. It adds extra layers of processing and optimization to make sure the quality of the answers is top-notch. It's the difference between a prototype and a production-grade application. And this is a really big deal. In fact, studies have shown that the quality of the information you retrieve, that R in RAG, accounts for something like 70% of the final answer's quality. Think about that. Get the retrieval part wrong, and it doesn't matter how smart your LLM is, you're going to get a bad answer. So how does advanced RAG get this so right? It uses a whole toolkit of clever techniques, things like being smarter about how it splits up documents, using a hybrid approach that combines different search methods, and a really important step called re-ranking. Let's talk about re-ranking for a second, because it's a real game changer. You can think of it like a filter. The first retrieval step might grab, say, the top 20 possible results. It casts a wide net. Then the re-ranker, which is a more powerful and precise model, looks at just those 20 results and picks out the absolute best 3 to 5 passages to send to the LLM. It's all about quality over quantity. So when you put all these advanced techniques together, the results can be pretty amazing. Let's pull back for a moment and look at the big picture. Why is RAG so important? Why is it changing everything? Well, it really comes down to a few major benefits. First, it massively cuts down on those hallucinations because the AI is grounded in real facts. Second, it lets the model use up-to-the-minute information without needing to be retrained, which is a huge deal. Third, and this is so important for building trust, it lets the AI show you its sources. You can actually check its work. And finally, it's way, way more cost-effective than constantly retraining these gigantic models.
And this isn't just theory. We're seeing RAG pop up everywhere. It's the engine behind smarter search systems. It's what allows a chatbot inside a big company to answer specific questions about their internal documents. It's being used for everything from content creation to customer support tools.
The thing to remember is that RAG is not standing still. It's a foundational piece of the AI puzzle, and it's evolving really, really quickly. So, what does the future hold?
Well, two big trends are emerging: modularity and multimodality. Modular means the RAG system will get smarter about how it searches depending on the question you ask. And multimodal, that's where things get really wild. It means RAG won't just be limited to text. It'll be able to pull information from images, audio, and even video. Just imagine that.
So yeah, the big takeaway here is that RAG is much more than just a patch for LLMs. It's becoming a core component for building the next generation of AI that's not just powerful, but also reliable and trustworthy. In short, if you remember one thing, it's this. RAG makes AI smarter, safer, and more trustworthy by grounding it in facts. It's the bridge between an AI's vast general knowledge and the specific verifiable information we need.
And that really leaves us with a fascinating question to think about, doesn't it? If we can build AI that can verify its own facts, what can we finally trust it to build for us? The possibilities are pretty staggering.
Hey, thanks so much for sticking with me through this explainer. If you found it helpful, a like would be amazing. And make sure you subscribe to Techery for more deep dives just like this one. I'd really love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. What do you think about RAG? Or is there another topic you're curious about? Let us know. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.